Let me tell you the truth. Unless you eat the flesh of the Son of Man and drink his blood, you can't have eternal life within you. Who eats my flesh and drinks my blood will live for eternity, and I will raise them up at the last day. For my flesh is real food, and my blood will be your ambrosia. Whoever eats my flesh and drinks my blood remains in me, and I in them.
The film opens with a professional kitchen setup where dozens of chefs are preparing top-notch cuisines and delights of all kinds and cultures. Scenes then cut to our lead, Goreng, waking up in a vertical management prison cell number 48, besides his cellmate, Trimagasi. The rules of the prison are simple, according to Trimagasi, as food is supplied to the prisoners on each level, served on a platform that fluctuates in the hollowed pit. The platform begins from the top floor and keeps lowering itself after every 2 minutes. The lower you are, the fewer chances you have of getting food. There's hope for the lower-level inmates as they're shuffled every month. When the platform first arrives in Goreng's presence, he chooses to leave the food for the lower levels and picks an apple to eat later. However, the cell starts warming up as keeping food is not allowed, so he has to get rid of it. At night, he recalls coming to the prison for a 6-month diploma and getting himself admitted after filling out a form. He's asked to bring on board one item of his liking, so he brings a book. On the next day, Goreng refuses to eat again, unlike the gluttonous Trimagasi, who gobbles up food as if he's been deprived for ages. Later, Goreng asks him how he ended up here. Trimagasi explains he came under the spell of marketed ads and lost his temper on the TV. He ended up throwing it outside, which fell on a bystander and killed him. He was evaluated as a mentally disturbed person and given a choice between this prison or the psych ward. Hence, he chose the prison and is serving time from the past few months. Concerned for the state of people in the lower levels, Goreng tries to communicate with them, but no one cares.
Hey! You at 49! Can you hear me?
Trimagasi doesn't hesitate peeing on them in return. He now reveals he bought his favorite knife as his one allowed item. When the platform arrives next, Goreng eats as he's famished. Afterwards, he reads his book and stretches his leg, during which he witnesses a person from an upper level committing suicide and falling down the pit. He gets startled, but Trimagasi is used to such incidents and suggests Goreng adopt the same careless attitude too, with time.
Nobody's gonna do anything!
Goreng picks up hints from Trimagasi during his storytelling and figures he ate his cellmate to survive on the lower levels. When the platform arrives the next day, Goreng spots an injured girl named Miharu sitting on it. He becomes concerned for her, but Trimagasi ignores her and explains to Goreng that she comes down once a month looking for her missing child. When she goes to the lower floor, the men try to get handsy with her, but she kills them without needing the concerned Goreng's help. Goreng spends the remaining month eating as much as he can to store energy, because by the end of the month, he's gassed and shifted to level 171 with Trimagasi, who has tied him up to bed. Sadly, the platform on their level arrives with empty dishes. Days go by, but they don't get a single crumb, which prompts Trimagasi to forcefully cannibalize Goreng.
I lost the words, and well, I suppose we could leave the birds now. To make a neat job of start today, otherwise I can't.
I want you to know I'll hold you responsible.
Luckily, Miharu arrives through the platform and saves him from Trimagasi's atrocity. Miharu now frees Goring and encourages him to kill Trimagasi as punishment. Goring passes out as he's sensitive.
You have 10 seconds to get more snacks and like the video. You shouldn't play with terror.
When he regains consciousness, he finds Miharu feasting on Trimagasi. She brings some of the meat chunks to Goring and feeds him so he doesn't die. She also quenches his thirst with water before leaving on the platform. In another kitchen scene, the supervisor is seen scolding the chefs after finding a speck of hair interviewed him before sending him off to the prison. Thankfully, Goring is with a new cellmate, Imogwiri, on the 33rd level. Imogwiri conspires about the levels being way more in number than they're told about. From his recent experience, Goring discusses the food issue. Imogwiri reveals that they provide enough food for all prisoners, but it's the people on the upper levels who show no mercy and eat more than their fair share. She plans on bringing order to the prison so everyone gets to eat. Soon, the platform arrives with plenty of food. Imogwiri eats very little and feeds her dog, after which she makes 2 small portions for the next 2 prisoners. She requests the lower-level prisoners to only eat those portions and repeat the same for the next levels, but she's terribly ignored. Goring blames the administration, who doesn't want order in the first place. But Imogwiri thinks the contrary. She continues to bring order by shouting at the prisoners every day. One day, Goring becomes tired of her attempts and threatens the lower prisoners to follow Imogwiri, or else he'll poop on their food every day. This actually works out, and the chain continues from them. Prisoners eat less food and relay the order to the next prisoners. One day the platform arrives with the fainted Miharu on it, so Goring brings her to his bed and restores her to health, while the dog steals some food and gets them into trouble. Goring at last snatches the food from him and gets rid of it. Goring sleeps on the floor that night. He wakes up to a cat fight between the 2 girls, as Miharu has eaten Imogwiri's dog. He breaks their fight immediately. When Miharu leaves on the platform, Goring finds from Imogwiri that Miharu never came here with a child, as she's a mentally ill actress. She also opens up about herself losing the battle to cancer and volunteering in the prison, not knowing how bad things were in here. As days pass and the end of the month arrives, Imogwiri refuses to eat because of depression, but Goring forces her to eat as they may not have food on their next level. The cycle of gassing the prisoners continues. This time, Goring wakes up on level 202, where Imogwiri has already committed suicide out of despair. Goring starts seeing the dead Trimagasi, Imogwiri, and her dog, who are wondering if Goring will cannibalize Imogwiri too. Goring keeps himself occupied to prevent himself from going insane. He tricks his mind into believing the pages of the book he's eating are food and starts counting days. When Goring doesn't get real food for days, he sees Trimagasi's ghost teaching him how to cut open a human body, indicating that Goring is ready to eat Imogwiri's corpse. He dreams about Miharu charging a knife at him. But when he wakes up, he's relieved to know he's placed on the 6th floor with a new cellmate named Baharat. Baharat's only allowed item is a rope, which he has used so far to get up to the 6th level. He wishes to use the rope to get all the way to the top floor, but his plan is sabotaged by a couple upstairs. He asks the couple on the upper floor to help him lift him via his rope, but they taunt him at first and don't grab his rope. They then pretend to help him. When they start pulling him upwards, they poop on his face. Baharat is forced to let go of the rope. Goring immediately catches him as he falls, but the rope gets lost in the never-ending pit. Despite having a platform full of food, Goring and Baharat eat small portions, but get devastated to see the prisoners on the lower level eating like animals. Goring envisions Trimagasi again, who praises him for making it to the final month. Goring comes up with a revelation and takes it upon himself to bring order. He asks Baharat to tag along and enforce order in the lower levels by personally going down and controlling the prisoners by the fear and punishment method so everyone can eat. They break their metal bed frames and turn them into rods. When the platform arrives, the two enforcers hop on it and refuse to let the people on level 7 eat, as they had enough food yesterday. They plan on doing the same to the prisoners until level 50. Baharat hesitates to be rude to the prisoners and keep them away because they helped him climb his way up in the previous weeks. When an old cranky man misbehaves, Baharat lets go of his hesitation and keeps the prisoners away from the platform until they reach a level with a wise and respectable prisoner named Brambang in it. Baharat doesn't have to force himself on Brambang, as he endorses their plan and hopes they earn respect from the lower levels. They guard the fancy dishes for the very low levels to make an impression on them. When they reach level 50, they hand out small and equal portions of food to people, instead of allowing them free will. The people become grateful for the food and don't attack them. As their enforcement works out, they successfully make it to level 97 with enough food. Level 97 is occupied by a sick old man and a boy. Goreng feeds the old man some soup, but the boy tells him not to bother, as he will be cannibalizing the old man later. On the next level, the platform doesn't stop, as it only carries a dead man, hinting that Miharu must have woken up on that level. When they go further lower, they find Miharu getting beaten up by the prisoners on their level. Goreng and Baharat jump in to save her, but fighting them becomes extremely hard, as they're huge and have a sword. Baharat takes down his man first and helps Goreng kill the other one. Unfortunately, Miharu dies too. Goreng becomes emotional and forgets about his mission, but Baharat drags him back to the platform and explores lower levels. They keep handing food to the remaining prisoners, as most of them are already dead due to hunger. It takes them 333 levels to get to the bottom of the prison, where they find a child hiding under the bed, who's named Mali. The platform goes down in the dark basement. They get off it and remain with the kid, along with the dessert they were savoring for the last prisoner. The prison doesn't punish them for keeping food this time. Goreng and Baharat blissfully watch Mali eat the dessert. They sleep on the floor and let Mali sleep on his bed. Goreng is once again haunted by the ghost of Trimagasi and other dead cellmates. When he wakes up, he breaks into tears to see Baharat bleed to death due to the injuries he got during the enforcement process. When the platform arrives at their level the next day, Goreng hops on it with Mali to discover what's in the basement besides darkness. Trimagasi's ghost appears for the last time and convinces Goreng to stay in the darkness and let Mali go to the upper levels alone. Here, the film ends.